Leid live in Seminole Heights, where the search is on for a killer. 4 people have now been murdered, and this community needs justice. We'll have that next on Nightside.
And right now, it's a neighborhood on edge.
You walk out your door and somebody just shoots you for no reason.
You know, you're walking up and down the road and you're looking at everybody like maybe that's the person.
I believe that this person lives in this neighborhood.
I feel deep down inside that that person killed my boy, and they need to get him off the street.
Fear returns to Seminole Heights, though for some, it never left. Tonight, police are patrolling the streets looking for the person behind the 4th murder in a matter of just weeks. This murderer has been able to fly under the radar since gunning down his 3rd victim last month.
And Katie, I can tell you that tonight here in Southeast Seminole Heights, it is eerily dark and very quiet. People, of course, are afraid to leave their homes because there is a killer on the loose. But let me get you right to the very latest in this investigation. A 4th person was found dead early this morning. Police say his murder is related to 3 more from back in October. SWAT teams have been going door to door in the neighborhood looking for the person who did this. This time, police say they have a description of the suspect, a thin black male dressing in all black with a black baseball cap. Police were on the scene just moments after the shooting, but didn't find anything. They say 60-year-old Ronald Felton was crossing the street to meet someone when he was killed. His sister says he was working at a food bank when he left. And then she told us she wants everyone to know why it's so important that his killer is caught.
It could be their family member hurting like I hurt. It could be, you know, somebody close to somebody that they know. It could even be them. You walk out your door and somebody just shoots you for no reason. All he was doing was helping the homeless. He wasn't hurting nobody. He wasn't doing anything to nobody.
Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn has a similar message. He told our Reginald Roundtree he is sick of telling families like those of Ronald Felton's that their loved ones won't be coming home. So he wants someone to come forward with the information that they need.
The next victim could be their mother.
Absolutely.
They need to talk to us. If they see anything, they need to talk to us. This no snitch culture.
Right.
It's got to stop.
It's got to go.
It could be your mom.
And joining me now is Nightside reporter Sarah Rosario. You have been in this community talking to people, and they are understandably very afraid of what's going on.
Yeah, that's right, Catalina. Talking to people, fear is permeating this community. That shooting happening just right here at this intersection behind us, so close to houses, a church just down the street. Many popular restaurants are in this area. Some people I spoke to say they are getting out of here. They're picking up, they're moving, while others I spoke to tonight say they're not going to let these murders define this community. A 4th murder in Tampa's Seminole Heights neighborhood has fears of a serial killer on the rise.
You know, they were telling us that this was over, and it's not.
Pam, who's lived in Seminole Heights for more than a decade, is too scared to tell us her last name.
It's just dangerous. It's dangerous to be out here. I mean, you know, you don't know who this guy is. He's got a gun. His purpose is just to kill people.
She lives and works just blocks away from where the latest shooting happened. 4 murders in less than a month.
We're moving our business. We're moving. We can't do this.
Lifelong resident Corey Kreitz agrees. His mom lives on the same street where the latest victim, Robert Felton, was killed overnight.
She has a firearm next to her bed. She's ready. I mean, unfortunately, it's sad to have to live this way in this community. This community is not like this.
The string of murders is now marring the historic neighborhood's revitalized reputation. The McKiernans also live on the same street.
Police came through and searched our yard, searched our house twice, and they were like, stay inside.
Comforted by the police presence, they say they won't be paralyzed by fear.
Love the neighborhood, love the people. It's a shame it's happening here, but I don't think it's indicative of the people who live in this neighborhood whatsoever.
In a community meeting Tuesday night, a message of hope resonated from Tampa's police chief.
We have to stick together. We're not going to let whoever's doing this, whether it's one person, 2 people, or whoever, we're not going to let them take over. We have to stay together. We turn on our porch lights. We go outside together. Don't go out alone. And if you see something, you got to say something.
And Catalina, as you just heard, many people are emotional. They're very scared and taking the advice from the police chief. That couple that we just heard from, they told us they're not going to let these murders stop them from going out in this neighborhood. And coming up in the next couple of minutes, we'll check back in on them. I have a whole nother story where I'll tell you about what they plan on doing to support the local economy here.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And you know, it's not just the police patrolling this neighborhood. We talked to the Guardian Angels not too long ago. They have been in this neighborhood every single day for 3 weeks. I'm joined now by Ron Smith, but I know you as Jaws. Tell me what you've been doing tonight in the neighborhood, helping people get home safely.
Well, we've been here since 5 o'clock, and a lot of people are getting off of work at different times, and some of them don't have vehicles, and some of them have actually asked us to help walk them home because they're a little afraid to walk by themselves, and we've been doing that throughout the night several times.
And how do you make sure that people don't impersonate you and confuse people in this neighborhood?
Well, before each patrol, I make a phone call and let the sergeant in this area know how many of us will be out and what time we'll be here from.
Give us a feeling of what people are telling you, how they feel. Are they afraid? Describe it for me.
Well, they were just finally getting to the point where they could start going outside and barbecuing and opening up their windows, and now they're like back to sealing up the doors and the windows. They're afraid to come outside.
All right, Jaws, thank you. Thank you for talking with us. For those of you who don't live in Seminole Heights, you know, this is a small neighborhood. And Katie, the area the police are searching is southeast Seminole Heights, which is even smaller.
This gives you a really clear sense of just how small the neighborhood of southeast Seminole Heights is. It's just a little more than a half a mile by a mile. Now, compare that to downtown Tampa. It's about the same size if you don't include Channelside. It covers downtown St. Petersburg from North Stroud Park to Albert Whitted Airport. And when you compare southeast Seminole Heights to Tampa International Airport, believe it or not, the areas are roughly the same size. Now, add the fact that so many people are looking for this killer, and it is really surprising that he's been able to avoid being caught.
And we're going to continue doing live coverage throughout this newscast throughout Seminole Heights, and of course bring you the information that you need. Remember, now is the time to get the free 10 News app. It's free, as I just mentioned, and we'll send you all the alerts that you need as soon as new information breaks in these murders. You can also get updates on our Facebook page and WTSP.com. Also, you can count on us to stream news conferences live no matter what time of day it is. So again, you really want to stay on top of that because I know a lot of people are waiting on the information that they need, and again, hoping that this killer is caught. Katie, I'll send it back to you.
Well, they certainly are. Catalina, thank you for that information. Turning to violence now on the West Coast. In Northern California, police shot and killed a gunman who killed 4 people and injured 10 more, including 2 children. Investigators say what began as a dispute with a neighbor turned into a random shooting spree. Police say the gunman, armed with a semi-automatic rifle and 2 handguns, first killed a neighbor he is accused of assaulting back in January. Police say that neighbor had a restraining order against the shooter. Investigators say he then opened fire at multiple locations, including an elementary school.
The shooter targeted the school from outside the school and shot into the school multiple rounds.
They say the shooter tried to get into several rooms at that school, likely with the intention of shooting children. They credit the school staff for saving lives by putting that school on lockdown. The gunman then fired at 2 police officers who shot back and killed him. His name is not yet being released. Police say he does have a criminal history.
Katie, it seems like these shootings are happening more and more often. People are getting frustrated and even jaded by these attacks, and we're seeing that on social media. Richard told us our leaders will be lining up to offer their prayers for the victims and to tell us it's not a good time to talk about gun control. How many more innocent lives have to die? We have another comment coming in from Paul who said, thoughts and prayers all over again and nothing happens. Move along, nothing to be alarmed about. Just another day in America. Here's another comment that we got from Donna. She said, we need better mental health care, readily available, not months away, inexpensive, not $300 an hour, and without stigma. We are a nation suffering a mental health crisis.
Teachers in Hillsborough County are making their frustrations heard over the raise they're not getting, even though it was promised. That was the scene at this afternoon's school board meeting where the pay raise issue was not On the agenda for the afternoon, hundreds of teachers were promised a $4,000 raise written into their contracts, but the district claims the money is not there and that the blame lies with state lawmakers for insufficiently funding education.
So without proper planning, without support from the legislature, and without additional money from grants, the salary plan everyone hoped for would be financially viable is not. And we've done that to keep our schools as well staffed as possible.
And with that, the teachers walked out of their meeting to demonstrate their anger. Florida is a right to work state, by the way, which means that teachers here do not have the right to go on strike. But in Polk County, a big win for teachers tonight. They will get raises of between 2 and 3.5%, which are retroactive to the beginning of this year. Support staff will also get an annual increase of 2%. The total cost of that pay agreement is about $10 million. It still needs to be ratified and approved by the school board. And if you are watching this afternoon, a very moving tribute today. Hundreds celebrating the life of Roy Halladay at Spectrum Field out in Clearwater. Just a week after the former Blue Jays and Phillies pitcher was killed, he was piloting his plane off the Gulf of Mexico, something he loved doing.
And today was a beautiful ceremony and really to remember Roy Halladay. His owner with the Phillies, John Middleton, said Roy Halladay transcends baseball, and that impact is felt throughout this entire Bay Area. Halladay's teammates Chase Utley, Cole Hamels, and Chris Carpenter all spoke of Roy as a model teammate, husband, and father of his 2 sons, describing Halladay as a fierce competitor and a humble humanitarian. He worked closely with dog shelters in Pasco County and mentored the Calvary Christian baseball team. At the end of the ceremony, family and friends released butterflies into the sky, led by Roy's wife, Brandy.
Even Roy couldn't hold up to the standard that he set for himself. We had a huge life. We built a beautiful family, and we kept going. No matter what, we never stopped. It's just what we did. It's what we do in baseball, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
You really try to look on how you're going to be as a father, as you're going to be a player, how you want to treat others. He exemplified the best and the most humble, loving person.
A tough night in Seminole Heights, and more are ahead if a killer isn't caught soon. Police are all over this neighborhood tonight, less than 24 hours after a man was shot and killed in the street. This is the 4th death in a string of unsolved murders. I'm going to bring back in Nightside's Sarah Rosario, who's been working on this story all night, and this is impacting the local economy.
Yeah, that's right, Catalina. I'm told that this is having a huge impact on the local economy. This is an area that has essentially reinvented itself. This neighborhood is known for its eclectic atmosphere, its great restaurants, and now many people are hearing about these murders, and they're too scared to come here. So we took a drive throughout the area earlier today, and we noticed that the roads were very busy, but some of the stores and the restaurants, those were empty. Just a couple of minutes ago, I introduced you all to a couple, and they were telling us they're not going to be gripped by fear. They're not going to let these murders define this community. And the gentleman I spoke to said he's going to do whatever it takes to keep these businesses afloat.
This could put restaurants out of business. This could put the entertainment that I think really makes this neighborhood thrive, might put that at risk. And I'm worried about that and trying to figure out, how much can I afford to go out to eat.
And Carolina, as we talk about restaurants and stores being busy in this area, I am told that this is a slow season, but with Thanksgiving just next week, and we've got Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, this is the time where things start to pick up. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this area to see if business picks up. But there is a serious concern here that this area will not get the traffic that it needs.
Well, of course, the hard part of all of this is you're telling people to stay safe, to stay in their homes. But then again, you don't want businesses to collapse, and you want those businesses to thrive. But when you're dealing with this, it's very difficult. Right. Katie, I'll send it back to you.
Well, this story has a lot of you talking on social media.
Yeah, really a sad one here. 2 Hillsborough County educators facing child abuse charges tonight. Michael Hoskinson and his wife Kimberly both out on bond tonight. Police say Kimberly pushed the child and that her husband punched the alleged victim twice in the ribs. Michael Hoskinson is the principal at Coleman Middle School, and his wife Kimberly is an assistant teacher at Plant High School. Both of them deny the accusations. Neither of them, by the way, is allowed onto their school campuses for now, pending an investigation.
That's right. Police say the child did suffer bruised ribs and a hurt wrist from the alleged abuse.
All right, guys, a warm day out there today. 83 degrees is where we topped out at. That's above the average of 78, but no records. They were all safe. 88 was a record for this day. Sunset 5:38. Yeah, on the early side there. That's 275 going northward. That's the I-4 junction going off towards the east there. We're looking to the northeast. That's where the wind is coming from, and that's where that smoke that you have been smelling is coming from. North to northeast winds right now at 9 miles per hour. Most of us in the upper 50s north of I-4, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, but most areas south of there are basically right around 64, 65 degrees at this point. There's the northeast wind. It's still up. It's still breezy out there. It's not as breezy as it was today, but it'll stay just like that, about 5 to 10 miles per hour minimum, really, as we go through the overnight hours, and pretty similar setup for tomorrow as well, although I think we'll be right around that 10 to 15 mile per hour range. No rain out there right now. You can see it's over on the East Coast, nothing for us. That fire was way up here. It's the Withlacoochee Forest, actually. It's a 2,300 acre controlled burn that they did yesterday. In the morning hours, in the first half of the day, the wind's out of the north and east. It blows that smoke off towards the south and the west, but later in the day, the wind turns more out of the north, and that's what happened today, and pushed that smoke over central Hillsborough, right over downtown Tampa as well, too. Still a little bit out there, so you may smell a little bit of it as you get into tomorrow morning. When we wake up tomorrow morning, mid-50s north of I-4, low 60s south of there. Very comfortable, nice and cool actually in the morning. And then a beautiful afternoon, 77 to about 80 degrees, and you see mostly sunny skies in those winds. Well, north-northeast right around 10, 15 miles per hour. So another nice breeze out there. Now the breeze obviously is not good for boating. We'll go 15 to 20 knots, 2 to 4 foot seas, choppy on the bay, and small craft advisories through the morning, but they will likely get extended, at least small craft exercise caution. So the drier air, relatively dry air, sticks around. Saturday, Sunday it starts to come up. That's our next cold front. It's ahead of some cold air, but we're only going to get a small taste of it. Allergy, ragweed, grass, and elms. It's been dry out there. Keep that in mind. That may, especially with the breeze, it's going to blow some of that around. That cold air is up in Canada. It's diving southward. It's moving into the northeast over the next several days. We won't get that taste of it until Sunday. So we're close to 80 through Saturday. And then Sunday will be in the mid-70s. Monday, we may not get out of the 60s for highs. Small rain chance, it's only, it looks like now, Sunday morning, and that we'll have to watch. It's only going to be about 10 to 20% chance.
It felt like deja vu to many today. Attorney General Jeff Sessions back in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee again to talk about Russia. Nightside reporter Mark Rivera is here with a quick account of Sessions' testimony.
Just want to give you a quick update on how many times the Attorney General of the United States has changed his story about meeting with Russians or discussing the possibility of them, the Russians, helping President Trump get elected. First, in his confirmation hearing, he said no contact with the Russians. Then, a few months later, oops, I met with the Russian ambassador.
Therefore, I have recused myself in the matters that deal with the Trump campaign.
Sessions said that's it, though, for real. No other meetings or discussions. Well,
I could say that I possibly had a meeting, but I still do not recall it.
Today, yet another oops for the top cop in the nation. He attended this meeting where this guy, George Papadopoulos, says Papadopoulos, wanted to try and set up a meeting between candidate Trump and Vladimir Putin.
He was not authorized to represent the campaign with the Russian government.
Don't you wish you could just get all the facts at once? Mark Rivera, 10 News.
Now, from your Suncoast Hyundai dealers, this is 10 Sports.
Well, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee adding a little bling to that playoff picture. The latest rankings tonight has number 3 Miami with that turnover chain just behind Alabama and Clemson. Mark Richt is the hottest coach in the state of Florida. Well, the Gators, they don't even have a coach, at least a permanent one. blogger posted Florida AD Scott Strickland was in Connecticut today to hire former Oregon and Eagles head coach Chip Kelly. Social media ran with it, and that's what happens when you don't leave it to the pros to report. Turns out Strickland never even left Gainesville today, posting this photo of himself speaking to a sports administration class on campus. Whoops. Coaching search continues, and apparently Texas A&M might begin a search of their own, starting with Jimbo Fisher. That according to USA Today. Kevin Sumlin is on the hot seat at College Station, and the report says the school will reach out to Fisher at season's end. Jimbo's name was linked to LSU last year, but let's stay put. All right, all this coaching movement, you can count on one thing. Leonard Hamilton on the Seminoles basketball bench. Tonight, Hamilton tipping off his 16th year against George Mason, and he lost a whole lot of talents to the NBA. Jonathan Isaac, Dwayne Bacon in the league, but Hamilton still does. Terrence Mann, rebound, and the stuff. All high percentage shots for Mann on this night. 8 of 10 from the field. Here, the steal and the layup. Team high 17 for Mann. FSU over George Washington in the opener, 87-67.
Tonight's lottery numbers are brought to you by Dimmitt Chevrolet. See for yourself what hundreds.
And such a tough day in the Seminole Heights neighborhood as so many people woke up this morning to find out that a 60-year-old man was shot and killed right here, right down the street, making him the fourth in a string of unsolved murders. Tonight, many people here on high alert. I've been here for several hours and have witnessed and watched police officers driving pretty fast down the street. We assume responding to calls, but again, you can feel the high alert that we have in this neighborhood. There is a $41,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest in this case. Earlier, I spoke to the Guardian Angels. They pointed out that they are walking people to their homes because it is simply not safe. Katie and Alex, back to you.
Such a shame, all those people living in fear, and especially heading into the holiday season. You really hate to see that. Remember, now is the time to download the 10 News app. It is free, and we will send you alerts as soon as any new information breaks in these murders.
And you can also get updates on our Facebook page and WTSP.com. You can count on us to stream news conferences live no matter what time of day. And if anything happens overnight, you can find the latest on Brightside beginning at 4:30 in the morning.
That's it for Nightside. We'll see you tomorrow.